Warning, this program is rated PG-13 and may not be suitable for younger audiences. You have been warned. At long last, Smash Bros. First 5 DLC characters has been rounded out with the release of Byleth. The announcement itself was met with mixed feelings.
Wait, this... God damn it.
You must join Smash.
Okay. No, not Fire Emblem.
Who's that? Fire... God! Dang. Really?
You must join Smash.
Welcome to Upgrading Gaming, the show where we analyze some of the biggest problems with your favorite games and then try to fix them. However, for our maiden voyage here on UG, I thought it only appropriate, especially given the recent announcement, to break the ice with one of the most debated and speculated topics on the internet, Super Smash Bros. DLC. In a recent Smash Bros. Direct, Masahiro Sakurai, the director of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, shocked the world by revealing to us just how much he enjoys Fire Emblem. Spoiler alert, it's enough to risk apparently worldwide disappointment. Now, to Sakurai's credit, he did follow up Byleth's announcement by revealing that not 5 but 6 DLC characters will be joining the roster, effectively pre-apologizing for what he must have known would cause widespread disdain. People who are mad now will hopefully be abated by the promise of an extra character as compensation for Sakurai's apparent party foul. Well played, Sakurai. Big fan. Love what you've done with the place. Now, that of course raises the question of who will be joining us, and that is the plan for our discussion today. It goes without saying that the number of characters that could be considered for this list borders on legitimately uncountable, and this video can end up being so long that it rivals even a DaBuzz tier list video. But we're not trying to cure insomnia today, so in deference to you guys, I will limit myself. This also means it will be axiomatically impossible to include every possible character, so I hope you won't be unhappy if your personal picks aren't mentioned. I'm also going for personal feelings over realism and popularity, or else I run the risk of listing the same 5 characters as everyone else who does one of these. Everyone wants Dante and Sora, this is not a surprise, and I honestly don't think I have anything new to bring to the table in that regard, so we'll be taking a different approach, because life is a buffet, and no matter how good the deviled eggs are, eventually everyone gets sick of deviled eggs. The only rule, I guess, is that I won't be listing characters that didn't specifically debut in a video game, and I think that's fair. That was Sakurai's rule for the Smash Fighter ballot, and honestly, are we all really still expecting Goku and Shrek? I swear to God, right now in front of the whole internet, if Shrek enters Smash Bros, I will eat my entire shoe on camera. It's just not funny anymore. 6 characters are to be added to the game, so 6 characters will be listed in this video. I feel like this goes without saying, but this is an opinion piece, obviously. I'm a big fan of discussion though, so if you think I missed something cool, leave a comment to let me know. Anyway, this intro has gone on long enough already, let's get into it. I know, there's a lot of Zelda characters in this game. Some say too many, but first of all, what's wrong with that? It's not like Zelda is a celebrated Nintendo title or anything, and second of all, are you really gonna tell me that you're okay with 4 different Marths, but this is where you draw the line? Anyway, I digress, but you need to check that attitude, hypothetical naysayer. Twilight Princess is an objectively wonderful Zelda title. I would argue one of the best modern Zeldas, open and shut, and it's easy to see why. Wii motion controls notwithstanding. It was a new avenue into a dark kind of Zelda, much like the ones we remember from Link to the Past and Majora's Mask, and just about all of that was due to the game's central conflict, the Twilight threatening to engulf the world. Twilight was a kind of darkness energy or alternate reality that turned people into spirits and made it impossible for Link to traverse the world in his current state. Thus his wolf-like form was introduced, which was inevitably accompanied by a certain sarcastic sidekick named Midna. If the concern with having another Zelda character in Smash is a lack of originality and variety, you can rest easy with this one. Wolf Link has an expansive repertoire of physical attacks and special moves that could aid him in becoming a unique and fierce character in his own right, as well as being so cute and cuddly. Who's the good boy? You are. As a wolf, Link could have normals and smash attacks based on techniques like the jump attack, bite combos, dash attack, and spin attack. Midna can do the throws by whipping her hair back and forth, and she can also help with special moves like the Midna jump for recovery and the energy field that can lock onto multiple targets, deal loads of damage in a long-range dash attack. I can't be the only one who thinks that would be amazing, right? And whether you agree with me or not, the difficulty with this one is Midna's already in the game as an assist trophy, and we already know the kind of glass ceiling of that is. After all, where's Waluigi? I actually have a lot to say about the Zelda titles, particularly Ocarina of Time, but I don't have time to talk about it in this video. If you'd like to see the analysis I have planned for that game in the future, go ahead and subscribe. Now, I wanted to talk about this one specifically because I was actually not super aware that Goemon was even a relevant contender for the Smash roster. Apparently he was, but only so much that he was actually recently added to Smash Bros. As a Mii sword fighter costume. This one stings, particularly because I've been writing this script and planning this video since the fighter ballad back in Smash 4, and every version of this script has featured Goemon as like my big reveal right at the end, and nobody else was talking about that, and it got me all hyped up. Apparently I was wrong, and here we are on like the 40th version of this script, and all of my silent hopes have been dashed in one fell swoop. Still, I should be grateful, maybe that Goemon made it at all, but do you know how hard it is to make a convincing Goemon face on a Mii? It's freaking impossible. That, and could it maybe kill Sakurai to have made the Mii sword fighter not the worst Mii character? I finally have Goemon, or half of him, and I can't play him because I like winning and he sucks! I never thought I'd say this, but hashtag, buff Mii sword fighter. Did Goemon deserve to have his own slot on the roster? Absolutely he did. I really feel like making him a costume was a terrible missed opportunity. He has his pipe for melee attacks, chain pipe for recovering range, he can throw money as a projectile. Another amazing quirk to the character that could be utilized for his special attacks is the other 3 characters that often tag along with him. Ebisumaru, Yae, and Sasuke. I apologize for my pronunciation. In a perfect world, all 4 of them can join the fight. Down special could switch between them the way that Pokemon Trainer does, and each one has something different to bring to the table. Sasuke is a tiny battery-operated ninja. He's light and quick with a tall jump height and can throw kunai and bombs as projectiles. Yae is an all-around traditional no-nonsense fighter who wields a katana. Ebisumaru is heavy and slow, who can't jump high and uses a paddle as a weapon. Ever since I've played Goemon's Great Adventure as a kid, which is still one of my favorite games in the world, I've dreamed of these characters joining the fray as they've all felt like such good fits for the format. Unfortunately, it seems that day will never come. I wanted to put the ninjas from Mortal Kombat in this spot, but it just didn't feel satisfying enough, so they were just edged out. You might say they were soul edged out? This is a big one for me because one of my oldest memories of gaming is playing Soul Calibur on an arcade cabinet at the movies. And now as then, Nightmare is one of the most recognizable and badass characters in gaming. It's not that he's arguably more deserving a character than, say, Scorpion or Sub-Zero, or even that it makes more sense. In actuality, a better argument could be made for the exact opposite. Honestly, maybe Scorpion is a better choice for this list, but I have to make a case for the Azure Knight here. I think he's being tragically overlooked as a candidate just in general. Soul Calibur is another classic in fighting games. It's paid its dues, and it more than deserves to have its time in the Smash spotlight. After watching some footage of this character and his moveset, I'm actually really hyped for this pick. He's got so much going for him. He has like a thrust command grab, which is gnarly, an explosive area of effect attack in close range, what I think is a forward throw, stance changes, a sliding kick attack, brutal throws. It's actually impossible for me to do any justice to the magic this character would bring to Smash in just a minute or two. So I'm taking it on faith that you're all with me on this. He fills a niche too, something we've never had as a heavy sword character. Oh, come on, Ganon does not count. In terms of design, you have so many costumes to choose from in his library of games, and speaking of costumes, you have to have Siegfried as 1 or 2 of his palette swaps. You can't have Nightmare without Siegfried, they're one and the same. They're peanut butter and jelly, they're cheese whiz and bread. I actually lean toward this pretty hard as a likely candidate for a surprise pick, and he absolutely deserves it as one of the most recognizable and quotable characters in gaming history, and why not? Soul Calibur just had its 6th iteration released into the world. It could happen. Or, tragically, he too could get made into a Mii sword fighter costume. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice is a marvelous game and easily gets my pick as one of the best games of the decade, so for me, Sekiro is probably one of the more likely candidates on this list. The Shinobi prosthetic is one of the most legitimately interesting tools in gaming just in general, not just because of its design quality, but also overall as a game mechanic. It opens the door for a really cool special moveset, the grapple hook for recovery and command grabs, throwing stars as a harassing projectile, flame burst for pressure and damage, and the axe for breaking shields and taking stocks. It would also fit perfectly in a game full of characters with counter moves, but this time it makes sense, as counterattacking is the central combat mechanic of the whole game. What really lends itself to the possibility, though, is that Sekiro actually just won Game of the Year 2019. Clearly, I'm not the only one thinking this game is fantastic, and by extension, I can't be the first one to suggest this. I'm actually kind of surprised that I really haven't seen Sekiro on any DLC wish lists, or maybe I'm just not looking hard enough. Having said that though, it surprises me that if there was going to be an announcement at all, it didn't happen at the Video Game Awards. I know we were kind of gearing up for Byleth to snatch up the 5th spot, and maybe that was for the best anyway, but still, it seems odd to have missed an opportunity like that. Even so, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Sekiro ends up being the first character reveal of the new season, or ends up another awesome sword character doomed to be a Mii costume. There's a lot of that going around. Could have had Goemon for real, but no, another Fire Emblem character is fine. This is the one on this list that I'm probably the most excited to talk about. Kratos is as widely known as any character on this list, and it's because of the notoriety of his games. God of War is a beat-em-up series worthy of the name, and more than once has Kratos come up in consideration for characters that people would like to see in Smash Bros. But today, I'm planning to flip the script a little bit. Recently on PS4, a new God of War title was released, one that explores the world of Norse mythology after Kratos effectively left the Greek gods in ruins. But what's really interesting about this new iteration, which almost never happens for AAA games like this, is that the entire genre is different, and a welcome change it was, at least for me. Gone is the stereotypical button-mashing beat-em-up style, and in its place is something new. An over-the-shoulder strategic action adventure featuring Kratos and his son, Atreus. Now I hear you, you're all like, why are you telling me this? I thought we were talking about Smash Bros. Maybe you're right. I'll save it for another time, but I'll tell you what, click the bell icon, you can be notified when I do the full analysis later on. Something I will mention though is the combat mechanic central to the game, where Atreus fires arrows and performs grapples on enemies as Kratos fights. So what I'm saying is, what an interesting character this pairing would make in the Smash Bros. Coliseum. Hang on, did I just predict the next Smash title? Imagine Kratos, right, with his Leviathan axe, with boomerang action and ice powers, and then as one of his special moves he can call Atreus in as an assist to extend combos or pressure shields with his arrows or combination attacks. This has never been done in Smash Bros. Before, and yeah, it sounds more like something that would be appropriate for tag team fighters like Dragon Ball FighterZ or Marvel vs. Capcom, but if handled correctly, it wouldn't only make a huge impact in competitive Smash Bros, let alone just in general, but it could potentially do so in a way that isn't mind-numbingly game-breaking and unfair. Given Kratos' popularity overall, Sakurai's proven tendency with these DLC characters to add new and exciting mechanics, and the release of God of War not terribly far behind us, it sounds like an actual recipe for a godlike Smash character. See what I did there? Also, yes, he does have a counter, and it can reflect projectiles. But that's the rule, right? You can't be in Smash unless you have a counter and or reflector. Can't be coincidence that every third character in this game has a bloody counterattack. I'm about to reveal my last pick for this video, and I feel like I might lose some of you, so before I do, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please click the thumbs up button. It would really mean a lot to me if you did. Do me a favor, please don't click away. You stay with me this long, hear me out. As long as we're talking about video game characters, ones whose games have not been represented in Smash, ones that have technically debuted in a video game, I give you the Wild Goose, the ultimate loophole. I take it back, I take it back. This is the one that gets me going. This is the hype train. Woo, woo! Can you even imagine? A frickin' Force user in Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch. 2 lightsabers wielded backhand, force choking as a command grab, throwing the lightsabers as a projectile, force lightning, force push, so many costume variations and lightsaber colors to include. I shouldn't even have to tell you how abundant the possibilities are. It's even been done. He's in Soul Calibur. But the rules of physics in those games I always felt were too strict for a Jedi or a Sith or whatever he is. Like, imagine if he can cut loose in Smash Bros. I mean, the dude pulled a Star Destroyer out of orbit with his mind. Can I sign up twice? Busted. Legendary. New favorite character. Move over, Captain Falcon. Douglas J ain't got nothing on General Starkiller. Is it that The Apprentice is an overwhelmingly popular character? I mean, no, not really. I mean, does anybody even know who I'm talking about way up here in 2020? Were the Force Unleashed games even objectively good? That's up to individual review, which is something we do here, but not today. Honestly, as a Star Wars fan and a video game fan, I just get so tickled at the idea of an actual Force user in Super Smash Bros. That I don't actually care who or how. Let's make it happen. I've heard about the new Jedi Fallen Order coming out soon, if it's not already, and you know what? Maybe that character stands a good chance of being added to the roster, but of course, even as I think about all the issues with licensing music or otherwise and all the things that make it difficult for Star Wars crossover into Smash Bros., I'm also remembering a much bigger issue. The same issue that's undoubtedly gatekeeping Sora from being a Smash character as well. Fucking Disney. The mother of all corporations, one of the most powerful legal entities on the planet that's also, unfortunately, unbelievably protective of its IPs. I have hopes and everything, and I have faith in Sakurai, praise be unto him, but some battles simply can't be won. Look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The next 6 characters are already set in stone and development is in progress, so the best any of us can do is hope. Now that certainly won't stop us from speculating, and you've heard some of my picks, now I'd like to hear some of yours, and that's what the comments section is for. You may not agree with everything that I had to say, but hey, that's what makes you awesome. One thing we can all agree on is that Smash Bros. Ultimate will have 81 characters when we're all said and done. That's fantastic, no matter how many of them are from Fire Emblem. Thank you for watching Upgrading Gaming. Stay tuned for our next video, and until then, be excellent to each other. One that explores the world of Norse mythology. One that explores the world of Norse mythology. One that explores the world of Norse mythology. It's so hard to say. Frickin' frack.